When it comes to living on a very tight retirement budget, one of the most important and life-changing decisions is downsizing and relocating to a low-cost area. This single choice can transform financial struggles into manageable living because housing is often the largest expense retirees face. When you are living on only $1,000 a month, every dollar matters, and cutting down the biggest bill makes room for everything else. Downsizing doesn't always mean loss. In fact, it often brings freedom, simplicity, and a lifestyle that feels lighter, more intentional, and easier to sustain. Many people think downsizing is just about moving into a smaller house, but it is also about redesigning your life around what you truly need rather than what you've accumulated over time. Imagine a couple or even a single retiree living in a large suburban home with multiple bedrooms, high property taxes, utility bills, and maintenance costs. Every month, a huge chunk of their limited income goes toward keeping up a space that is mostly empty. Downsizing means letting go of that unnecessary burden and instead moving into a home that matches your actual lifestyle in retirement. A one-bedroom apartment, a small cottage, or even a manufactured home in a retirement community can provide comfort without the crushing expenses. Property taxes shrink, heating and cooling costs drop, and maintenance becomes far easier when the living space is modest. That shift alone can free up hundreds of dollars a month, which on a $1,000 budget is the difference between constant stress and financial breathing room. Relocating to a low-cost area is the other side of this key decision. Where you live affects almost every expense in your life: rent, groceries, healthcare, transportation, and even entertainment. Retirees who succeed on a small budget are often the ones who are willing to leave behind expensive cities or states and move somewhere where their money stretches further. For example, someone living in New York City or Los Angeles would find it nearly impossible to survive on $1,000 a month, but moving to a rural town in the Midwest, a quiet southern community, or even abroad to countries like Mexico, Portugal, or Thailand opens up an entirely new world of possibilities. In these places, $1,000 is not just survival, it can actually buy comfort and a sense of security. The emotional side of downsizing and relocating is also important. At first, the idea of leaving behind a longtime home can feel like loss or failure, but many retirees discover that it is liberating. A smaller home means less cleaning, less clutter, and fewer responsibilities. Relocating to a low-cost area can bring new adventures, new friends, and even a healthier environment. Instead of being trapped in an expensive lifestyle just to maintain appearances, you begin to live more authentically, in a way that supports peace of mind. Many people realize that the large house and the expensive city life were not bringing them happiness, just stress and bills. Downsizing and moving creates space to actually enjoy retirement, free from those constant financial worries. Another layer of this decision is the intentional design of the new lifestyle. When you downsize, you naturally let go of items that don't serve you anymore. You keep what's essential, what's meaningful, and you build a living space that feels uncluttered and manageable. That simplicity has its own reward. There is a deep sense of relief that comes with knowing everything you own has a purpose, everything fits, and you're not surrounded by excess. Living in a smaller home also encourages more time spent outside, enjoying parks, walking, or engaging with the community, rather than being stuck in a large house that constantly demands upkeep. From a financial perspective, the math is clear. If you were paying $1,200 a month in mortgage, taxes, utilities, and maintenance before downsizing, and now you are paying $400, that $800 difference allows you to cover food, transportation, healthcare, and still have a little left over for personal enjoyment. On a $1,000 monthly income, cutting housing costs is like giving yourself a raise. It is nearly impossible to cut $800 worth of small expenses like coffee or shopping, but one major decision about housing and location can create that much breathing room instantly. Relocation also brings flexibility. Some retirees choose to rent rather than own, which means no property taxes and very little responsibility for repairs. Others buy a small, affordable place outright, which eliminates monthly housing costs altogether aside from utilities. Both approaches work, depending on the individual's financial situation and preferences. The key is aligning your living arrangement with your actual retirement income, rather than trying to hold on to a lifestyle that no longer fits your resources. When relocating, it's also wise to consider not just cost, but quality of life. A low-cost area should still offer access to healthcare, grocery stores, and safe neighborhoods. Some retirees join communities of other seniors where there are built-in social activities and support networks. Others choose locations near nature, where the environment itself offers free or cheap recreation like hiking, fishing, or gardening. The best low-cost areas are those where your needs are met without constant spending. Many success stories come from people who look beyond their own country. International relocation is becoming more common for retirees living on tight budgets. In places like Mexico, Ecuador, or the Philippines, $1,000 a month can cover rent, food, healthcare, and even a modest entertainment budget. These retirees often enjoy lifestyles that would be out of reach back home. Of course, moving abroad comes with challenges like language barriers, visas, and distance from family, but for many, the trade-off is worth it. They exchange financial stress for adventure, community, and a new cultural experience. At its core, downsizing and relocating is not just a financial strategy but a mindset shift. It is the recognition that life is not about the size of your house or the prestige of your address but about the daily peace you experience. A smaller, affordable home in a low-cost area becomes a foundation for freedom. Instead of lying awake at night wondering how to pay the next bill, you have the security of knowing your needs are covered. That security translates into emotional health, physical well-being, and the ability to actually enjoy the retirement years rather than just survive them. For someone living on $1,000 a month, downsizing and relocating is the key that unlocks the door to a sustainable lifestyle. It transforms what looks like an impossible budget into a workable plan. More than that, it reshapes retirement from a time of stress and sacrifice into a chapter of life filled with simplicity, freedom, and contentment. Once the weight of oversized housing costs and overpriced cities is lifted, retirees often discover that less really is more. With fewer burdens and lower expenses, they finally have the time, energy, and peace of mind to live fully in the present moment. Living simply by cutting unnecessary expenses is one of the most powerful ways to stretch a small retirement income, especially when you are working with a tight budget like $1,000 a month. This approach isn't about depriving yourself of everything enjoyable, but rather about becoming very intentional with how you use every dollar. Many retirees discover that a surprising amount of their money was being wasted on things they didn't actually need or even care about, and once those expenses are stripped away, life feels lighter, simpler, and often more satisfying. Living simply means redefining what truly matters, finding joy in the essentials, and removing the constant drain of purchases that bring little value. The first step in this lifestyle is awareness. Many people don't realize how much of their spending is automatic or habitual. For example, eating out several times a week might have been affordable during working years, but in retirement on a small income, it quickly becomes unsustainable. Preparing meals at home is significantly cheaper, and many retirees find it healthier and more enjoyable once they adjust. With some planning, groceries can stretch much further than restaurant meals, and cooking can even become a hobby rather than a chore. Instead of a $25 dinner at a restaurant, a home-cooked meal for two might cost just $5, and the savings accumulate quickly. Another area where expenses often pile up is subscriptions and memberships. Streaming services, gym memberships, magazines, or unused phone plans quietly drain money every month. A person on $1,000 a month can't afford to overlook those small recurring charges, because together they can eat up a large portion of the budget. Living simply means evaluating each subscription and asking, does this truly bring me value? If the answer is no, it's time to cut it. Often, retirees discover that free alternatives exist. Walking in the park instead of a gym membership, borrowing books from the library instead of buying them, or watching free channels online instead of juggling multiple streaming services. Clothing and shopping habits also transform under a simpler lifestyle. Retirement doesn't require professional wardrobes, constant new outfits, or keeping up with trends. Many retirees realize they already own more clothes than they will ever wear. Living simply means keeping a few versatile, comfortable pieces and resisting the urge to buy more just because of a sale or impulse. Thrift stores, second-hand shops, and clothing swaps also provide budget-friendly options if replacements are needed. By cutting back on unnecessary clothing purchases, retirees save money and reduce clutter at the same time. Transportation is another major category where unnecessary expenses can be reduced. Owning multiple vehicles, paying for high insurance premiums, or driving frequently burns through money. Retirees on a small income often benefit from downsizing to one car, choosing a fuel-efficient model, or even relying on public transportation if it is available. Some decide to live in walkable areas where they barely need a car at all. Each reduction lowers not only monthly expenses but also unexpected costs like repairs, registration, and gas. Living simply means aligning transportation choices with actual needs, not with old habits formed during years of commuting. Entertainment and social life don't need to be expensive to be fulfilling. Many retirees find that free or low-cost activities bring just as much joy as costly outings. Community events, potluck dinners with friends, hiking, gardening, volunteering, or attending free concerts and festivals are wonderful ways to stay active and social without draining the budget. Libraries often provide free classes, movie nights, and social programs. When you live simply, you begin to realize that meaningful experiences often cost very little, and the expensive outings that once seemed important may not add much real happiness. Cutting unnecessary expenses also extends to the home itself. Energy bills can be lowered by conserving electricity and water, using energy-efficient appliances, and being mindful about heating and cooling. Cable television, landline phones, or overly expensive internet packages can often be reduced or replaced with cheaper options. Even small daily habits, like turning off lights, unplugging devices, or line-drying clothes, save money over time. The point is not to become obsessed with every penny but to create a lifestyle where money isn't wasted on things that don't add genuine comfort or value. Healthcare is a critical area in retirement, and while it may not be considered an unnecessary expense, living simply can help keep costs down indirectly. A focus on cooking at home, exercising regularly, and maintaining a healthy lifestyle reduces medical bills in the long run. Preventive care, free community clinics, or low-cost health programs are often available to retirees willing to research their options. Instead of spending money on expensive supplements or quick fixes, prioritizing a simple, balanced lifestyle leads to better health outcomes and fewer doctor visits, which in turn helps the budget. Living simply is also about mindset. It requires shifting away from a consumer-driven view of life that equates happiness with buying. Retirees who thrive on $1,000 a month often describe a sense of freedom that comes from realizing they no longer need to chase after things. They learn to appreciate simple pleasures, a quiet morning with a cup of coffee, a walk in nature, reading a book, or spending time with loved ones. When you measure life by these experiences rather than by possessions, expenses naturally fall because you no longer feel the pressure to spend in order to feel fulfilled. This way of living also builds resilience. By keeping expenses low, retirees are less vulnerable to unexpected financial shocks. If an emergency arises, such as a medical bill or car repair, the rest of their lifestyle is already so frugal that adjusting becomes easier. There is less risk of debt because there are fewer ongoing financial obligations. This resilience provides peace of mind, knowing that even on a limited income, life remains sustainable. There is also a sense of empowerment that comes with choosing simplicity. Many people assume that living on $1,000 a month means being trapped, but those who actively cut unnecessary expenses discover they have control over their lives. Every cutback is a conscious choice to prioritize freedom over stress. Instead of being a victim of limited income, they become the architect of a lifestyle that works within those limits. The power lies in knowing that they can meet their needs, enjoy their retirement, and still live with dignity and contentment. Ultimately, living simply by cutting unnecessary expenses is not about sacrifice but about clarity. It's the process of stripping away the clutter of consumerism and discovering what really brings joy and comfort. On a small retirement budget, this clarity makes all the difference between constant anxiety and a peaceful, fulfilling life. Retirees who embrace this path often find that they don't miss the things they gave up. Instead, they gain time, freedom, and a deeper appreciation for the little moments that truly matter. Living simply becomes more than a financial strategy. It becomes a philosophy of life that allows them to thrive, even within the strict boundaries of $1,000 a month. Prioritizing health, peace, and experiences over possessions is a lesson that transforms retirement from a financial struggle into a meaningful stage of life, especially when living on a modest budget. When your income is limited, it becomes clear that money should not be wasted chasing material goods that add little value. Instead, it makes sense to direct your time, energy, and resources toward the things that truly matter, maintaining good health, protecting your peace of mind, and creating memorable experiences. This mindset not only stretches a small budget further but also creates a life that feels rich in ways money cannot measure. Health is the first priority because without it, everything else becomes harder. On a budget of $1,000 a month, there isn't room for constant medical bills, expensive treatments, or the complications that come from neglecting well-being. Retirees who thrive on limited income understand that prevention is the most affordable form of healthcare. That means eating balanced meals at home, getting regular exercise through walking, stretching, or gardening, and prioritizing rest. These habits cost very little but can prevent costly health issues. Choosing water instead of sugary drinks, preparing simple but nutritious foods like beans, vegetables, and whole grains, and staying active with daily movement keeps both body and budget in balance. Investing time in health doesn't require money, it requires commitment, and the return on that investment is years of independence and reduced expenses. Equally important is peace of mind. Retirement is meant to be a time of rest after decades of work, but financial stress or cluttered living can rob you of that peace. Many retirees who succeed on small incomes learn to let go of worry and embrace simplicity. They understand that stress not only harms mental well-being but also physical health. Protecting peace might mean downsizing into a smaller, more manageable home, avoiding debt, or learning to say no to unnecessary obligations. It can also mean practicing meditation, prayer, or mindfulness, which cost nothing but bring immense calm. Peace of mind comes from aligning your life with your values and removing the constant pressure to keep up with others. On a tight budget, you may not be able to afford everything society promotes, but you can cultivate a peaceful, contented life that money cannot buy. Experiences are the third pillar of this priority system. Retirees who shift their focus from possessions to experiences discover that life becomes richer, not poorer. Material items lose their shine quickly, but experiences create lasting memories and emotional fulfillment. A walk with a friend, a family gathering, exploring a new park, or volunteering in the community costs little to nothing but brings connection and joy. When you spend your limited resources on experiences rather than objects, you not only save money but also build a life filled with meaning. Even small treats, like an occasional picnic, an afternoon at the library, or a day trip to a nearby town, create stories to remember and share. Possessions often clutter homes and drain budgets, but experiences enrich the heart. The choice to prioritize these three areas also reflects a deeper shift in values. Consumer culture constantly pressures people to buy bigger, newer, and more expensive things. Retirees on tight incomes quickly see that this path is unsustainable, but rather than feeling deprived, they find freedom in rejecting it. By no longer chasing material goods, they discover what truly brings happiness. A good night's sleep, a morning walk in fresh air, laughter with friends, and time spent doing things they love, all of these are affordable and deeply fulfilling. In contrast, a new gadget or fancy outfit provides only a momentary thrill before it becomes another item on the shelf. This shift also creates financial stability. By not spending on unnecessary possessions, retirees protect their budget for essentials like healthcare, food, and housing. They are less likely to fall into debt or feel overwhelmed by expenses. When money is spent, it is spent with intention, on things that directly support health, peace, or memorable experiences. For example, paying for a fitness class might be worth it because it supports health and social connection, while buying a new television may not be necessary when the old one works fine. This way of thinking helps retirees make better choices that align with their values rather than impulsive wants. Peace and experiences also reinforce health in surprising ways. Stress reduction lowers blood pressure and strengthens the immune system, while joyful experiences release positive hormones that keep both mind and body resilient. Social interactions, whether through volunteering, spending time with family, or joining community groups, fight loneliness, which is known to harm health as much as smoking or obesity. By focusing on relationships and meaningful activities rather than possessions, retirees build not only a happier life but a healthier one. In this way, prioritizing experiences over things becomes a form of preventive healthcare. Another benefit of this approach is that it opens space for gratitude. When retirees stop comparing themselves to others or measuring success by what they own, they begin to appreciate the simple blessings in daily life. Gratitude itself is linked to better health and higher life satisfaction. Waking up each day feeling thankful for what you have, whether it's good health, a supportive friend, or a beautiful sunrise, creates a sense of abundance even when money is scarce. This shift in perspective can make $1,000 a month feel sufficient because you are no longer constantly focused on what you lack. Retirees who adopt this mindset often find they live more sustainably as well. By not constantly buying new possessions, they reduce waste and live with less impact on the environment. They learn to repair, reuse, or share instead of always replacing. This sustainable approach is not only good for the planet but also good for their wallets. Living simply with fewer possessions means less clutter to manage and less stress about maintaining or paying for things. The home becomes a place of calm rather than a storage space for endless items. It's also worth noting that possessions can sometimes hold people back. A large house filled with furniture, decorations, and unused items requires upkeep, cleaning, and money. Letting go of those things not only frees up space but also creates emotional lightness. Retirees often describe a sense of relief after decluttering, as if they have unburdened themselves from years of unnecessary weight. This newfound freedom allows them to focus on what they want to do with their time rather than what they need to maintain. Ultimately, prioritizing health, peace, and experiences over possessions transforms retirement into a more meaningful chapter of life. It's not about what you give up, it's about what you gain. You gain energy by caring for your body, calm by protecting your peace of mind, and joy by investing in experiences and relationships. None of these require wealth. They require intention and a willingness to see value where it truly lies. Living on $1,000 a month becomes not a story of struggle but of smart choices, contentment, and fulfillment. The retiree who follows this path proves that a rich life is not measured by possessions but by the quality of health, the depth of peace, and the memories created through experiences. Building a frugal mindset that values freedom over money is the hidden strength that allows someone to retire comfortably on just $1,000 a month. Unlike quick budgeting tips or temporary cutbacks, a frugal mindset is a long-term shift in how you see life, money, and happiness. It's about embracing the idea that financial security doesn't come from how much you spend but from how wisely you live. People who master this mindset stop chasing material wealth as a measure of success, and instead prioritize independence, choice, and peace of mind. When you live with this perspective, even a small income can support a fulfilling and dignified retirement. At the heart of a frugal mindset is the understanding that every dollar has power. Rather than thinking of money as something to spend as soon as it arrives, frugal retirees treat money as a tool to buy freedom. Freedom means not being tied to debt, not living under constant financial stress, and not feeling forced into situations just to maintain a lifestyle. For example, instead of taking out loans for luxuries or holding on to expensive possessions that demand upkeep, they choose modest but manageable living arrangements. This gives them the security of knowing their retirement years won't be dominated by bills and obligations. A frugal mindset also reframes what it means to live well. Many people equate a successful retirement with expensive vacations, big homes, or endless shopping. But retirees who thrive on a modest income understand that true wealth is in experiences, relationships, and personal peace. They don't feel deprived by not having the latest car or the newest phone because they've shifted their definition of happiness. Happiness becomes a cup of coffee enjoyed on the porch, a phone call with a loved one, or a walk in the park. By valuing these simple pleasures, they free themselves from the endless cycle of consumerism that leaves so many people stressed, even those with much higher incomes. Another part of building a frugal mindset is learning to distinguish between needs and wants. Needs are essential: food, shelter, healthcare, basic clothing, and safety. Wants are everything beyond that, and while they can add joy, they are not required to live well. Retirees on $1,000 a month know that focusing on needs first ensures survival, and only when those are met do they consider wants. This way of thinking prevents overspending and helps avoid the disappointment that comes from chasing luxuries that quickly lose their shine. Over time, many retirees even find that their wants shrink naturally, as they realize they are content with less. Frugality also means creativity and resourcefulness. Retirees with this mindset don't see a small budget as a limitation but as an opportunity to find smart solutions. They cook at home, learn simple repairs, barter with neighbors, or repurpose items instead of buying new ones. They may grow a small garden to save on groceries, sew or mend clothes instead of replacing them, or trade skills with friends. This resourcefulness not only saves money but also creates a sense of independence and pride. Instead of feeling helpless about their limited income, they feel capable and empowered. One of the most powerful benefits of a frugal mindset is how it reduces stress. When you stop trying to keep up with others or buy more than you can afford, the pressure eases. Bills are lower, obligations are fewer, and you no longer fear financial collapse with every unexpected expense. This peace of mind is priceless. Retirees often describe the relief of knowing they can cover their needs without stretching themselves thin. Even if they don't have much left over, they feel secure because their lifestyle matches their income. That security itself is a form of wealth. Frugality also nurtures gratitude. When you stop constantly chasing more, you start appreciating what you already have. A small home feels cozy rather than inadequate. A simple meal feels nourishing rather than boring, and modest experiences feel meaningful rather than lacking. Gratitude transforms a limited budget into a foundation for happiness because it shifts focus from scarcity to abundance. Retirees who cultivate gratitude often feel richer than those who spend endlessly but never feel satisfied. Gratitude paired with frugality builds resilience, making it easier to handle life's challenges. It's important to note that frugality is not the same as being cheap. Being cheap means cutting corners in ways that may harm health, relationships, or quality of life. A frugal retiree doesn't skip necessary medication or avoid seeing loved ones just to save money. Instead, They make thoughtful choices, spending where it matters most and cutting where it doesn't. They might invest in comfortable shoes for daily walks because health is a priority, but they won't waste money on decorative items that only gather dust. Frugality is about balance and values, not about deprivation. This mindset also allows retirees to resist social pressure. In a world where advertisements constantly push people to buy more, it takes strength to live differently. Friends or family might question why someone doesn't upgrade their car or take expensive trips, but a frugal retiree knows they don't need to prove anything through spending. Their confidence comes from living within their means and enjoying freedom rather than debt. Over time, many find that their choices inspire others, showing that life doesn't have to revolve around money to be meaningful. Another powerful aspect of valuing freedom over money is the ability to make choices based on joy rather than obligation. When you are not tied down by high bills, you can decide how to spend your time. You can volunteer, pursue hobbies, or spend more time with family without worrying about how to pay for an inflated lifestyle. That freedom is what many retirees discover they were truly seeking all along. Money can buy possessions, but frugality buys time and autonomy, things that are priceless in retirement. Living with a frugal mindset also creates long-term sustainability. A person who spends only what they can afford never has to worry about their lifestyle collapsing if prices rise or if unexpected expenses appear. Their life is already lean, resilient, and adaptable. This stability is especially important for retirees on small incomes, as they cannot simply go back to work or increase their earnings significantly. By living frugally, they ensure their retirement years are stable no matter what external changes occur. In the end, building a frugal mindset that values freedom over money is what makes retiring on $1,000 a month possible, and even enjoyable. It transforms limitations into opportunities, stress into peace, and scarcity into gratitude. Instead of feeling like they are missing out, frugal retirees realize they are gaining something far greater: freedom from debt, freedom from pressure, and freedom to live life on their own terms. This shift in perspective is more powerful than any budget plan or financial strategy because it changes not just how money is spent, but how life itself is experienced. A retiree who embraces frugality proves that wealth is not about numbers in a bank account but about the freedom to live simply, peacefully, and meaningfully.